So, have you spent 15, maybe 25 years building up this incredible mountain of experience, only to look around and feel, well, kind of stuck? You're obviously skilled, you're always busy, but you're just not building the income or the impact you know you deserve. Today, we're going to tear down the Salespreneur Clarity Engine, a system that's all about turning that hard-won experience into a crystal clear path forward. Let's dive in and see how it works. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about that problem, why so many experienced pros get stuck. Then we'll get right into the Salespreneur system itself. We'll cover building your inner foundation, then creating your action engine, and finally, what it looks like to actually live your new identity. So let's kick things off with a feeling that might just hit a little too close to home. You've got decades of expertise under your belt, a proven track record, but something just isn't clicking anymore. This just nails the core problem, doesn't it? You feel overworked, but the reality is you're underpaid. You know you're experienced, but you can't shake that feeling of being undervalued. It's this gap, this friction between the effort you're putting in and the results you're getting out that keeps so many brilliant people spinning their wheels. So that leads to the big question. I mean, if it's not a lack of skills, and it's definitely not a lack of work ethic, then what is it? Why does this happen to so many people? Well, the answer isn't what you might think. The answer, it turns out, is having a system. Not just piling on more information or learning another skill, but installing a completely new operating model for yourself. And that's exactly where the Salespreneur Clarity Engine comes into play. Look, you don't need another course to take or another certification to hang on the wall. You already have the knowledge. What's missing is the framework, the system, to unlock, package, and actually monetize what you already know, and to do it with real clarity and structure. That's the game-changing shift we're talking about. So what in the world is a salespreneur? Well, it's way more than just a cool title. It's a deep identity shift. It's about moving away from that employee mindset of trading your time for money and stepping fully into the identity of someone who creates real value and sustainable income directly from their own expertise. And that big shift, it happens through the 6-step framework you see right here. We're going to walk through each one, but you can see how they all build on each other. You start with the internal work, clarity and confidence, then move to the external stuff like structure and action. And finally, you get to embodiment and making it all last. All right, so let's see how this whole thing is built, starting with the most critical piece of the puzzle, the inner foundation. Seriously, everything else rests on getting this part right. Step 1 is clarity ignition time. This is all about cutting through that static, that mental noise, and the million different possibilities to find one single, sharp direction that you can actually build on. And this quote just captures that mindset shift perfectly. You have to stop asking, what should I do? And instead start asking, what problem does my unique experience let me solve almost effortlessly, again and again? That's where the gold is. It's a total reframe. Okay, once you have that clarity, you need the confidence to actually own it. That brings us to step 2, the inner authority reset. This is about upgrading your self-perception so it matches the reality of your expertise, and finally shedding that old corporate conditioning and that fear of being visible. And here's the bottom line, the absolute truth of it all. Your income is capped by what you secretly believe you're worthy of. It will never exceed your level of self-permission. If your identity stays small, your results have no choice but to stay small too. You have to give yourself permission to play a bigger game. So, once that inner foundation is solid, now we can build the external engine. The machine that actually drives the results. This is all about turning that newfound clarity and confidence into real, tangible, repeatable action. Step 3 is all about structural leverage. This is where we stop just trying harder or winging it. Instead, we build repeatable, predictable systems for your offers, your content, and your sales process. We're replacing randomness with reliability. Because let's be real, effort without structure is just a one-way ticket to burnout city. We've all been there. A good structure is what gives you predictability in your income, the ability to actually scale up, and maybe most importantly, some peace of mind. And next up, step 4, action momentum. This one is huge because it tackles the #1 killer of progress for everyone, procrastination. The secret here isn't more pressure or bigger goals. It's about radical simplicity and focusing on small, consistent execution day in and day out. And this is a total truth bomb. Failure almost never comes from a knowledge gap. It comes from a consistency gap. This step is designed to close that gap for good, creating this flywheel where taking action builds your confidence, which then fuels even more action. Now for the final phase, where everything we've built really comes together and clicks into place. This is about moving from just doing the work to truly becoming the kind of person who gets these results naturally. Step 5 is identity embodiment. This is that magic shift where you go from saying, I am trying to build something, to this is who I am. You stop looking outside for validation and you start operating from this place of quiet, unshakable authority. In this slide, this reveals the core secret. Your clients aren't just buying a list of your skills from your resume. What they're really buying is the certainty you project. And that certainty, it comes directly from embodying your new identity. It's magnetic. And finally, step 6. This is what makes sure this whole thing isn't just some short-term sprint that leaves you exhausted. The sustainability and legacy engine system is about designing a system that actually renews your energy, prevents burnout, and lets you build for the long haul. It's about alignment, not intensity. And when you put it all together, you see it's not just a list of steps. It's a complete, continuous loop. Your clarity fuels your confidence. Confidence makes building structure easy. That structure enables consistent action, which then solidifies your new identity. And a sustainable system lets you keep going without burning out, which, guess what? It brings you back to even deeper clarity. It's a beautiful, compounding cycle. So I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. This isn't just about building a business or a new income stream. It's about engineering your own next evolution. So take a moment and ask yourself, what version of me is this system helping me become? Because that is the identity you're already stepping into.